Well, it's Saturday. We're going to make another week of meals. Hello, family. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki, and you're with Grammy in the kitchen. It's 5 a.m., and our first meal this week is going to be breakfast, actually served at breakfast. We're going to make sausage gravy and biscuits. On Tuesday, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, because Tuesday we're going to make homemade sausage together, and we're actually going to be using half pound of homemade breakfast sausage today. But first we need to make the biscuits. Grab you a cup of coffee, a hot tea, or a beverage of your choice. Let's get breakfast going at 5 a.m. I'm going to go ahead and butter my cast iron skillet. I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees. This is the same biscuit recipe we use all the time. Alright, pan has been buttered. I have 3/4 cups of milk. I'm going to add a splash of white vinegar. That just helps sour the milk, almost like a buttermilk. Set that aside. Now we need to grate our butter. This is very, very cold butter. I just took it out of the refrigerator. Two cups of all-purpose flour. A half a teaspoon of baking soda. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And 1 teaspoon of salt. We need to make sure we coat that butter with all the flour so we can separate each one of those pieces. And now we can add our sour milk. Mix that in till it's incorporate, and then we're going to turn it over on our countertop and roll them out and layer them so we can have nice flaky biscuits. We don't want to over knead the biscuits, just trying to get it all put back together. Folding it onto itself. All right, now we're going to start flattening it out. Fold it into thirds, and fold it into thirds again. And the opposite way, fold it into thirds, and again. And I want to cut it in half, quarter, and then each quarter I'm going to cut into threes. Place that into our buttered cast iron skillet. And we're going to put that in the 350-degree oven. Set the timer for 20 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to clean up and we're going to go ahead and move over to the stove and start working on that sausage. So I got a stainless steel pan on the stove warming up. Now I found that the sausage we make homemade, even though there is a lot of fat in it, it doesn't release a lot of fat. So it dries up really, really quick. So I do want to put a little bit of olive oil in our pan. And this is a half pound of homemade sausage. I just want to cook that, and then we're going to make a roux, fat and flour, add milk, and then we'll have gravy. The sausage has been browned. I have some bacon grease, or you can use butter. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons and about 2 tablespoons of flour. That's a roux. Cook that flour for 1 minute. And now we're going to add about 1.5 to 2 cups of milk. And as that milk warms up, it'll activate that roux and make a nice thick gravy. I'm going to add a pinch of pepper and a pinch of salt. And if it's too thick, just add a little bit more milk. If it's too thin, we can always make a cornstarch slurry to thicken it up. I think it needs just a little bit more milk. And we're just going to let that heat up and thicken. Once those biscuits are ready, we can have breakfast. Biscuits are done. Absolutely gorgeous. Oven off. And the gravy. That took 30 minutes, family. That included making the biscuits. Let's make a plate for the husband. A little bit more butter on these biscuits. and some sausage gravy. Now, when we made the sausage, we actually sampled a couple pieces. I made just sausage patties. And I can tell you, family, it was so good. It is better than any store-bought sausage out there. And it's stuff we already had in the house, so why not? Now, this is the first time we're making sausage gravy with it. I'm pretty excited. Husband, is it good?
Yes, it is.
It's approved by the husband, that's for sure. I didn't take this journey on to make homemade sausage. But when I saw that on a TV show that the husband and I both enjoy watching, and I saw how simple it was, and I knew we had the ingredients. So I was like, I'm going to give it a try. If I like it, that's great. If I don't like it, I just won't do it again. Family, we like it. We absolutely love it. So that came together in 30 minutes. That includes grating the butter for the biscuits, making the biscuits and baking the biscuits, and the sausage gravy. 30-minute breakfast. And it's so delicious. Well, we're going to sit down and have breakfast. I'll bring you back later today when we make dinner. Oh, so good. It is too early for dinner, but we ate breakfast super early this morning, so we're going to have lunch. I took one of our frozen pizzas out of the freezer. Now, when I make my frozen pizzas, it's just a cheese pizza, and then we can dress it how we like. Oven is preheated to 400 degrees. I am going to put pepperoni on half for the husband. That should be good. These are some homegrown, and I chopped them, froze them, jalapenos. I love jalapenos. I love hot peppers. Husband doesn't care that much for them. He likes hot sauce, just not the peppers. So this half is mine, that half is his. Put the jalapenos back in the freezer. Pepperoni in the refrigerator. I'm going to put this in the oven. I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes. The pizza has been par cooked, which is lightly cooked, but we need to finish it. So we want to get nice golden brown on the crust, cheese melted, and the pizza hot. Set the timer for 20 minutes. We'll check on it, and we'll adjust the time if need be. 20 minutes is up. Oh yeah, perfect. Oven is off. See how golden and brown that turned out? Oh, it's beautiful. The husband likes pepperoni, so that's what he is getting. And we're having jalapenos. Now, I showed you the picture the day we made the freezer pizzas, that we had one that day, but I want to show you something. Now, this pizza was actually frozen, and we baked it straight from the freezer. Look how beautiful the bottom of that crust is. And it stands up perfectly straight. The pizza crust we made homemade. The sauce we made homemade. We buy our cheese from Azure Standard. I buy it in a 5 or 6 pound block. I grate the whole thing. I put them in 2 pound increments in a Ziploc bag because it takes almost 2 pounds to make 6 frozen pizzas. We know the ingredients in here, besides the pepperoni. We know how healthy and nutrient dense this pizza is. And it's convenient. Did you hear that crunch? Perfect. It is cooked perfect. So that's what we're going to have for lunch today. I'll probably see you later tonight because it looks like I'm going to have to cook dinner also. So good and so much more healthier than those grocery store frozen pizzas. So you've been with me cooking breakfast and lunch, and now it's time to cook dinner. I have one of our frozen fryer parts, a whole chicken cut up, minus the wings. We put those with the wings that we got on sale. So it's 2 drumsticks, 2 thighs, 2 breasts cut in half for 4 pieces. But we need to fry this. We're going to have fried chicken tonight. I do want to season the chicken with a little bit of salt and pepper. And then we're going to make a dry flour ingredient and an egg wash. I took this out of the freezer last night. I put it in the refrigerator overnight. It still wasn't thawed. Earlier today, after lunch, I took it out of the refrigerator, had it sitting on the counter just till it was almost thawed, but I knew I wasn't ready for dinner, so I just put it back in the refrigerator, and now we're ready. I want to go ahead and get some coconut oil in the stainless steel pan. Let that start melting so we can fry our chicken. I have it on medium-low. Let that wait on us. For the dry ingredients, I'm going to put 1.5 cups of flour. I'm going to use the Italian dressing mix. Put 3 teaspoons. That's a tablespoon. And another 3 teaspoons for a total of 2 tablespoons. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. That gives us the lift we need and a crispy crust. Mix that together. That's the dry ingredients. Let's go ahead and make the wet ingredients. So I have 2 eggs. And I like doing them in cake pans because it's has higher walls and more surface to have more control on the ingredients. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of milk to the wet ingredient. And just to kick it up a bit, I'm going to add about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of Frank's Red Hot Sauce. That's totally optional. Now we're going to do the whole wet hand, dry hand. So we're going to go flour, egg, flour, and onto this cutting board. Make sure we get the flour all over that piece of chicken. And now the egg wash. And back into the flour. And repeat until all the chicken has been flour, egged, and flour. Need to keep an eye on that oil. Make sure it's not overheating. But just because we have hot sauce in here, you don't have to worry about it being too hot. The flavor really just a pepper flavor because it pretty much cooks out when we're frying it, and then we're going to finish it in the oven. Let me turn it down just a bit. Okay. Okay, so all I got left are the 2 thighs. That was the perfect amount of eggs and flour, I believe, family. We did good. Oh, wrong hand. Almost did good. Okay, perfect. Let me wash my hands really quick. I think I lost some video, not sure. So I have the dark meat in here first. So I have the 2 thighs skin side down and 2 drumsticks. We're going to cook them for about 10 to 15 minutes on each side. It will not reach temperature. We're actually going to finish this in the oven. So it's been about 2 minutes since we put these in here, and they're getting a nice crisp on them. We'll preheat the oven, 350. I can smell that Frank's. And the other items we're going to have is some baked beans and some home roasted canned potatoes. It's in a vegetable broth with some garlic. And when I like to bake these with a little bit of Parmesan cheese, it is so good. So this is the dark meat that is partially cooked. The white meat is on the stove now. Our potatoes and the garlic is just completely pulverized. I want all that seasoning in here. Okay, so I did drain all the water out. And it's some seasons, garlic, and vegetable broth. And then I just put a little bit of Parmesan cheese on them. This is probably about somewhere between a third to a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. And I like the crispiness it turns on these potatoes. And as soon as we get the white meat or the breast meat off of the stove and get it on this pan, we're going to put it in the oven. It's probably going to take about 30 minutes to an hour to make sure they get up to temperature. The dark meat needs to be 175 degrees. The breast or the white meat needs to be 165 degrees. And these breasts are huge. Now, I like cutting the breast in half and making 2 pieces from it, but they are ginormous. And they've got a beautiful crisp to it on the outside. Gorgeous. And when I'm baking them, I will make sure that the skin side is up so that it doesn't get soggy, because it's going to release some of its oils and grease. And we don't want that skin to get soggy. We want to be nice and crispy. Okay, I think the breast is ready. Let me go ahead and take that off. Put it right on the sheet pan. Beautiful color on the top and the bottom. Now this is going to go in a 350 degree oven. We're going to check it in 30 minutes. If it's not ready, we'll continue until it is ready. I'm thinking an hour. I'll see you in 30 minutes. So the chicken was not done 30 minutes. So I extended it for the second 30 minutes. So they've been in the oven for an hour. Now the breast is reading over 160, but I don't think it's done. I'm gonna let it go a little bit longer. And this is a thigh. That is over 190. And so are the drumsticks. So I'm going to remove the potatoes because I don't want them to cook any more than they already have. They've been in there for an hour. The Parmesan cheese crisped up beautiful. And I am going to take the dark meat off. But I'm going to put it back in the oven and cook that white meat or the breast meat a little longer. But look at that crust. It's gorgeous. Try it for another 30 minutes and hopefully it'll be ready. An hour and a half later, I want to know if it's done. So we're going to sacrifice one of these breasts. Open it up. And it looks done to me. I think we're ready. Nice crispy crust. Oh, it's beautiful. Yep, it is done. Oh. But it did take an hour and a half for the breast meat and an hour for the dark meat. But that's okay. We're going to eat dinner. Let's try a piece of that chicken. We put that Frank's hot sauce in the egg mixture. See if it tastes hot. Mm-mm. It has a little bit of a peppery kick, but it's not hot. We love fried chicken and some Parmesan cheese crusted home canned herb potatoes. Perfect. Absolutely delicious. The husband hasn't gotten home from work yet. I'm not going to open up the can until he gets here and we can sit down and eat dinner together. So I can't wait to bring you back into the kitchen. We'll cook another meal together. This is probably enough to last us today for dinner and tomorrow. See you in a couple days. It's time to cook dinner again. So we're going to have pork chops, balsamic honey glazed carrots. Pork chops aren't going to take that long, but the carrots are going to take longer. So let's go ahead and get the carrots prepared so we can put those in the oven. And we're going to do a breading for the pork chops, but this is a homemade breading recipe. So I have some store-bought carrots because they're whole and not diced up and in my freezer. I think that will be enough. Oops, there's a bad one in here. Let me go ahead and throw that one in the trash. Oh yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do them all then. It's not that many. I do want to peel them. I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees. So I'm going to cut them about bite size. I don't want them too small. So about an inch and a half. That looks good. So I'm going to put a quarter teaspoon of pepper, a half a teaspoon of salt, a whole teaspoon of onion powder, and a whole teaspoon of garlic powder. And then we're going to put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Make sure, get back in there. Make sure everything is well coated. We're going to dump this on our baking sheet. Make sure we get all the goodness out of this bowl. Spread that out. All right, I'm going to put this in the oven for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to start working on the pork chops. And then all the scraps from the vegetables, I have in a Ziploc bag. And I'm just going to put this in the freezer for the next time we need to make stock. And while the carrots are in the oven, we're going to go ahead and make our balsamic glaze so it could be reducing on the stove top. So I'm going to put about a quarter cup of balsamic vinegar, about a tablespoon of honey, and a pinch of crushed red peppers. I'm going to put it on the back burner on a medium low, but closer to the low. We're going to let that heat up and reduce. And then we're just going to add a tablespoon of butter in there just to thicken it up. Carrots are in the oven. We still have 25 minutes left on that. The balsamic glaze is reducing on the stovetop. The only other thing we're going to do is get our pork chops ready, and then we're just going to have green beans. So I have our home cut pork chops that we got when we bought our tenderloin on sale. Put them in packs of 4. Do want to dry them off just a bit. This is homemade breadcrumbs, and I wrote on here for pork, and I don't know what I have in here. Onion, garlic powder, thyme, salt, pepper, something that starts with a C. I can't read it. Italian seasoning. I keep this in the freezer in between use. That way it doesn't go to waste. So we're going to take our pork chops, smash it in. Make sure that bread cubes and the breadcrumbs, I keep saying cubes, is smashed in there. So the carrots still have about 15 minutes left. The balsamic honey glaze is still reducing on the stovetop. I turned it down to a low because we're not ready for that. We're not going to be ready for that until the carrots are very, very tender and the pork chops are done. I need to open up this can of green beans. And at the time of recording this, Lidl's actually has their canned vegetables on sale again. Corn, green beans, and peas. There's 6 cans for $3, which is 50 cents a can. I did comparison to other grocery stores in my area, and that is really cheap. I think Kroger's brand was 59 cents, and I think Walmart was right about the same price. So this evening after I get off work, I'm going to go by Lidl's and pick up some canned vegetables just to put on the pantry shelf. I did an inventory just now. I still have 7 cans of corn and I think 4 cans of green beans. I'm not a fan of canned peas. But back to the green beans, I'm just going to add a good pinch of salt, some pepper, and I have some bacon fat. I'm going to put in about maybe a half a tablespoon. I'm going to put this on the stove on the back burner. Wrong one. On a medium low. Just going to cover that and let it do its thing. So we have 11 minutes left on the carrots. The balsamic vinegar is still reducing. We got the green beans on, and we're almost ready to put our pork chops in. Take a peek at our carrots. And they're still a little hard, but that's okay. I'm going to give them a little toss. Perfect. Put put our pork chops down on this side. Now this is going to go in the oven. I'm going to cook it for 15 minutes. Then I'm going to turn the pork chops. Then we're just going to put a honey drizzle on each one of those. Back in the oven, 15 minutes. Our balsamic glaze has reduced and thickened up. We want to finish it off with about a tablespoon of butter. Put this back on the stove. Wrong one. I'm going to turn that on low. Let that butter melt. While we're still waiting on the carrots to finish cooking and the pork chops. And the green beans are doing just fine on a medium-low, letting that simmer for just a bit. And about 30 more minutes we'll be able to eat, because we're going to cook the pork chops with those carrots for 15 minutes. We're going to turn them at a drizzle of honey, cook it for another 15 minutes, and then dinner is ready. 15 minutes. Carrots are almost ready. Oh, we timed that perfect. I'm going to flip these pork chops. And I just want to drizzle honey on them. Probably not even a teaspoon total for all 4 of these pork chops. But that is perfect. Back in the oven for another 15 minutes. Now I know this dinner took an hour because we cooked those carrots for 30 minutes. Then we put in the pork chops, cooked it for 15 minutes, flipped those pork chops, cook it for another 15 minutes. That's an hour. I understand not everybody has an hour to cook dinner, but most of that is hands off. The only thing we really had to do was peel and chop the carrots, open the can of green beans, get the balsamic vinegar honey glaze started. And then we were able to walk away and then just check on it about every 15 minutes, and then dinner will be ready. We need the pork chops to reach 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Then we'll know it's done. So in 15 minutes, fingers crossed, dinner will be ready. Balsamic glaze, after adding that butter, had thickened up beautiful. Ah, it smells so good. I love balsamic vinegar. So I'll see you in about 14 more minutes, family. 1 hour. I do want to take the temperature of a pork chop. There's a nice fat end right here. Let's try that one. Always go into the side. It'll give you a more accurate reading. We are done. Beautiful. It's 155 degrees. So this is our balsamic glaze. Balsamic vinegar, honey, and butter. Look how thick that is. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to pick up the carrots and put them in that pan. They smell so good with that onion powder and garlic powder. Oh, they're gorgeous. Oh no, I threw one in the floor. Toss that into our glaze. Oh, so simple. Let's remove our pork chops. And our green beans. And that is what's for dinner. Let's try some carrots. Oh, they're just gorgeous. A pork chop. And some green beans. Super simple. Very inexpensive because we bought that pork loin roast, cut them up into pork chops ourselves, vacuum sealed them, put them in the freezer. We got those on sale at $1.99 a pound, and I think we ended up with 4 packs of 4. I think that's right. So it's not bad. I am dying to try this carrot with that honey balsamic vinegar glaze. With that crushed red peppers, it is the perfect, just the back heat. It's not hot, but you get that warmth from that pepper. Canned green beans with some bacon grease, you can't go wrong with that. And the pork chops, we put a breadcrumb and a honey glaze on it. Just a little bit of sweetness. Oh my goodness, family. This is really good. This is what we're going to have for dinner tonight, possibly lunch tomorrow. That's why I like to put my pork chops in 4 packs, because it's just the husband and I. We're empty nesters, and I can cook dinner, and we can eat twice, sometimes even 3 times. I can't wait to bring you back in the kitchen. We'll cook something else. That carrot recipe is a keeper. But I love balsamic vinegar. I hope you give this carrot recipe a try. That is so good. So the last dinner we're going to make this week, it's going to be something from the freezer. I had made some chili and rice, God, I don't even know when. And I put it in vacuum seal bags because you cannot can rice. It's one of the rules. So I just put it in a vacuum seal bag and stuck it in the freezer. And when we did our freezer organization clean out, I found this. So I took it out of the freezer last night, had it in the refrigerator. I'm just going to put it in a pot, put it on the stove, and warm it up. And if you saw the video where we were doing some dinner rolls experiment, I still have 5 dinner rolls from the first batch right here. We're just going to eat that with it. Don't worry. The other one is still in the refrigerator. So tonight's dinner is just going to be something I had in the freezer, chili and rice, and dinner rolls. It's going to be a good day. If you're like me and you have a busy day, in my case, I am making 2 different videos today. In my world today, I made the experiment number 1 of the dinner rolls, plus I was canning some meals in a jar. It's our turkey soup, pot pie, casserole starter. Doesn't matter what I got going on, I still need to cook dinner. So when I found this chili and rice in the freezer, I was so happy. And it's enough for the husband and I to have for dinner tonight. And then I have to cook dinner tomorrow. Looks like it's kidney beans, black beans, and all the stuff that goes with chili. Smells delicious. And we're going to have dinner rolls. So that's what we had this week. I hope you get inspired and get into your kitchen and make a delicious, healthy, homemade meal for your family. And if you can, double the recipe. Throw it in your freezer. That way when you do have a busy day, whether you're canning, filming, running a kid somewhere for after school activity, or homeschooling, or if you're working yourself outside the home, at least you have something you can fall back on. I'm glad we had this chili and rice. Family, that is so good. Well, I can't wait till we get back in the kitchen. We'll make something delicious together. And until next time, you have a blessed day. Bye, family. Thank you to my past self for preparing a meal for the present. So delicious. And the oven wants to talk to me. Nope. No, 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 no. No.